Thanks for staying with us. We're moving on now to Punch. 2027 Obasanjo article, others meeting, no threat, says APC. Uber driver killed, body dumped on Lagos road. Why Rivers withdrew Supreme Court's appeal against pro-Wike lawmakers, according to Fubara. Edo Tribunal, Pabelo closes defense as lone witness admits overvoting. 800 surrendered Boko Haram's militants undergoing deradicalization, says Defense Headquarters. Courts adjourns indefinitely as Kanu demands case transfer to Southeast. And hospitals groan over deaths as FG 50% power subsidy delays. Okay, let me start with the Nnamdi Kanu story. So, if you recall, last year, September, Nnamdi Kanu had insisted that the judge, Justice Nyako, recused herself from his case, and she had actually accepted to do so. So she then forwarded a request to her boss as the chief judge, who then refused, saying that you've been doing this case since 2015. There's no way you're the only person that can actually continue this case. So he refused to make her step down from that case. Now, fast forward, Nnamdi Kanu had a case in January where his lawyers had said that he's not going to come to court to face Justice Nyako again. Anyways, so the drama that happened yesterday was that when he came to court, both lawyers were going back and forth on, okay, do we need to do a new request to the chief judge saying that we don't want Justice Nyako. In all that, Nnamdi Kanu stood up and said that he insists that he had requested for her to recuse herself from that case, and she had accepted, and that stands. Therefore, he's not going to stay, he's not going to have her continue his trial. And if you cannot find an appropriate judge in Abuja, they should take his case to the Southeast. So that was pretty much what the condemnation was about yesterday.
I don't know much about the law, but for me, it seems fair. If you recused yourself, I don't see why you
Yeah, but she sent to her boss, and her boss says no. Okay, stay on. That's the chief judge says you stay on because you've been doing this case since 2015.
The chief judge asked him to write formally, saying he didn't want Nyako anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, his lawyers are saying no, you don't have to write it. She's already recused herself, so it doesn't matter. She doesn't have to write a formal, or he doesn't have to write a formal letter. It's just it's just so messy. I had wished and hoped that they would settle out of court, come to some arrangement with Kanu, and let this matter be over.
Everybody's interested in the story, so I don't think settling out of court.
They're very sensitive.
There's a very sensitive
story, you know.
Okay. So I have for hospitals groaning over the debts that they owe the power
usage.
Yes. So the promise so the federal government have promised to subsidize the cost of electricity in health institutions, and they're saying that it is yet to have, to materialize, and hospitals are groaning over the electricity debts. Students of UCH University College Hospital Ibadan staged the protest after over 100 days of power outages due to disconnection. That is really bad. I mean, 100 days. They're saying the government is yet to commence the 50% subsidy of the monthly electricity tariffs of these hospitals. The Minister for Power says that government would subsidize electricity in hospitals and universities, even if they are on Band A feeders. However, government would not subsidize private businesses operating in these hospitals. So he said that there are hospitals, especially hospitals and schools, that there are businesses within these hospitals who charge customers, full, and they expect to be subsidized. He says what he wants now is that they do a proper search, meter every business or every institution within the health and educational institutions, and then each one of these businesses would be billed directly, and then the hospitals themselves and the schools themselves are the ones that will enjoy the subsidy. But that has to be done first before they do
because many of those businesses took advantage of it, and many of them are the ones actually piling up the bills.
Okay, so I have the 800 surrendered Boko Haram militants undergoing deradicalization. They say the Defense Headquarters has revealed that 800 former Boko Haram fighters who voluntarily surrendered to the military are currently undergoing deradicalization as part of efforts to integrate them into the society. They said before it was 129,000 Boko Haram fighters, and their families had so far surrendered. So it was out of these 129,000, the surrendered individuals are subjected to legal scrutiny. Some were found guilty and they're going to face prosecution, and while the others are going to go the rehabilitations and are placed in these programs. So they said out of the 129,000, 800 of them are going to go through this program. So the programs, they said the program is handled by professionals under Operation Safe Corridor, a non-kinetic approach to combating terrorism. They said it's a 1-year period, that the 1-year period is sufficient enough depending on the people handling. So they said the 1 year is enough for them to be able to, you know, put them in the right path before they now push them into the society. And I don't think, well, let me just keep my opinion to myself.
Okay. Thank you.
Today I have the Uber driver that was killed. So the Lagos State chapter of the Amalgamated Union of App-Based Transporters of Nigeria have mourned the death of their 42-year-old e-hailing driver Yusfat Ayinde. He was stabbed to death after they had called him. The customers had called him, the passengers. When he got there, there were hoodlums and they stabbed him and took his car. They dumped him on Agidingbi Road. So they yeah, very tragic. Doing his job, you know. Very sad.
Kobo for food.
And so they are calling for more safety for the drivers, you know.
Okay. Daily Sun, very quickly. Opposition intensifies major plan ahead 2027. Supreme Court reserves judgment on 4 appeals on the Rivers political crisis. Edo Election Tribunal, Governor Kwebolo closes case and hopeful. Nwanyawo's family reveals cause of death. And UCH power outage, UI College of Medicine students protest as minister visits. Okay, any story? Who has the Nwanyawo family story?
Yeah, I took the story. So his son, his eldest son, Jide Chuku, said his father had suffered emotionally. He said just before he fell ill, he went to the DSS headquarters to visit Nnamdi Kanu, but they didn't let him drive. So he had to get down and do a 20-minute walk, and that he was old. So he got there and he spoke with Kanu, and his wish was for everything to be settled. So it was the next day that he fell ill and he was taken to the hospital where he subsequently died. He didn't say how long from that day, but he was just begging again for the release of Kanu and saying that was his father's wish.
All right, Vanguard. Hardship. Many governors desert states to live in Abuja, says NLC. States now mandate drug tests for appointees and employees, says NDLEA. PDP crisis legal advisor throws weight behind Ude Okoye. Okay, which story?
I take NLC.
Okay.
So the Nigeria Labour Congress yesterday lamented that most governors abandon their states and live permanently in Abuja while the people they're supposed to govern are facing hardship. So they said that the president of NLC, Mr. Joe Ajero, had appeared at a town hall meeting with he was at a town hall meeting with workers at the NLC secretariat in Lokoja, and they were there to deliver and commission 10 compressed natural gas buses provided to the state chapter by the Congress to help ease, transportation problem. And then also while they were at the meeting, it was an opportunity to sit with workers so that they can talk about some of the issues that they are facing, and then they would then take these issues and demands to the governors. And he says of the 5 zones they've been at, they've only been able to see 1 governor. All the other governors were out of state. And he says, how do you do this then? How is it that you are a governor of a state, you're not there, your people are facing all sorts of issues? They have even told us, we can't even take the issues that they have told us to you because you're not there. Maybe, yes, eventually we'll give it, we'll send the message through a representative, but of course it's a big problem. It's a big issue. I like that they highlighted it, and I like this NLC. Do you understand? These are the issues I feel that NLC should really carry on its head. Really, we need to talk to these governors because we've heard this too many times. We know of governors and all sorts of other representatives that would not sit in their primary, in the area of their primary assignment, but find like cushy areas, you know, that other governors or other representatives have worked hard for, and they will go there and be putting all their time. Meanwhile, there are people that going through all sorts of issues.
They are going for their federal allocation.
Exactly.
If they don't go and sit there, they won't get it in time.
I'm not sure there's okay. Nigerian Tribune, let's just find one story. NDLA declares 4 members of Barry Shine drug cartel wanted over cocaine shipment to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. I'm sure you have that story.
Yeah, I do.
I have the
time.
Just a few seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have the NLNG plant location. That's the Pan Niger Delta Forum, that's PANDEF, has chided the federal government for locating mini liquefied natural gas plants in Ajakuta, Kogi State, describing it as a misplaced priority in the first instance and denying the Niger Delta region what could have aided its development even faster. They also said that all these offices are supposed to be close to the Niger Delta, where the raw materials are very close to them. They also said that NNPC and its management continue to pursue very unfair policies towards the South-South zone. So they are now calling on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to direct the National Oil Company to redress the situation.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned